When I found out my fiancé had cheated on me with my supposed bestie, I realized their wedding day was just the right occasion for some sweet revenge. Who would have thought attending a wedding could be like walking into a war zone? But when I discovered my fiancé, Brad, had cheated on me with my so-called bestie, Andrea, I knew their big day was the perfect chance for some payback. And let me tell you, I was all set to dish it out with style. Hey, I'm Megan, 28, and until recently, life was all sunshine and rainbows. Brad, my fiancé, and I were deep into wedding plans, imagining our future together. But then, bam, everything fell apart. It's crazy to think that the two people I trusted the most turned out to be the ones who hurt me the worst. Now, I'm just trying to pick up the pieces of my broken heart and find the strength to move on. It's tough, but they say time heals all wounds, right? So I'll keep pushing forward, hoping for brighter days ahead, and maybe a little wiser too. After all, they also say every cloud has a silver lining, and I'm determined to find mine. Well, to cut to the chase, a few weeks back, I found out the hard way that Brad, now my ex-fiancé, had been two-timing me with none other than my childhood confidante, Andrea. We'd been thick as thieves since we were barely teens, practically neighbors with homes just a stone's throw apart. Since the bombshell dropped, I've been crashing at my folks', grinding through work remotely, and clocking in some serious therapy hours. Just when I thought I was starting to see a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel, I got sucker punched back about 10 steps in my healing journey. Turns out, Andrea's expecting a baby. Can you believe it? Not only did Brad and Andrea betray me, but they've also gone ahead and planned their own happily ever after, complete with a wedding date already on the books. Wrap your head around this. My ex-fiancé and former bestie are set to tie the knot in just a few short months. As they march forward with their lives, Brad and Andrea seem hell-bent on trying to absolve themselves of guilt. My inbox has become a battleground of messages, swinging wildly from apologies to downright insults. Turns out, I'm not the only one who didn't pop the champagne at the news of their impending nuptials. Brad and Andrea's families want no part in their big day, thanks to the mess they've made of things with me. Those apologies they were tossing around like confetti quickly turned into finger-pointing, with them laying the blame squarely at my feet for supposedly ruining their big day. According to them, I'm the villain here, the vengeful, selfish one who's dashed their dreams of a perfect wedding with their families by my side. But wait, it gets even more outrageous. They tried to sweeten the deal by offering to name their unborn child after me if I could somehow miraculously convince their families to attend. As if that wasn't enough, Brad and Andrea's families were holding out on attending unless I showed up too, as if my mere presence would magically signal that I've forgiven them. It's like they expect me to rearrange my entire life and fast-track my healing process just to ensure they're happily ever after. It's a bitter pill to swallow, watching the life that should have been mine slipping through my fingers while I'm left picking up the pieces of a shattered heart. Andrea just wouldn't quit. It was like she was on a mission, bombarding me with messages from what felt like a never-ending array of phone numbers. But I wasn't having it. I blocked every single one. With each new text, my blood boiled a little hotter. Call me petty, call me vindictive, but there was no way I was going to let Andrea and Brad off the hook without a taste of their own medicine. Sitting there, seething with rage, an idea began to form in the chaos of my mind, a plan for what I thought would be the ultimate revenge. So, against every instinct screaming at me to cut ties and move on, I caved. I fired off a message to Andrea, telling her I'd be gracing their wedding with my presence, and even gave them the green light to spread the news to their families. The day of the wedding came. As I arrived at the venue, I couldn't help but notice how eerily similar the setup was to the vision board Brad and I had meticulously crafted together. White decor with delicate touches of gold adorned the outdoor ceremony space, mirroring our shared dreams of a picture-perfect celebration. The seats quickly filled up, and I watched as the families of both the groom and bride took their designated places in the front rows, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing in their midst. With calculated precision, I selected a seat dead center, positioned to ensure Brad and Andrea couldn't escape my gaze from any angle. Every detail of my plan was intentional, every move carefully orchestrated for the spectacle I was about to unleash. As the couple exchanged their vows and the moment of truth approached, the priest posed that age-old question, "Does anyone here have any objections to this union?" Without hesitation, I raised my hand, stood tall, and braced myself for the inevitable storm of whispers and curious glances that followed. In that charged moment, with all eyes on me, I knew I had to seize the opportunity to speak my truth. Ignoring the discomfort of the stares and the murmurs rippling through the crowd, I steadied my resolve and prepared to unleash the raw emotions simmering beneath the surface. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began, my voice steady despite the tumult raging within me, "I stand before you not as a joyful witness, but as a bearer of truth. This wedding, though adorned with beauty and promise, is founded upon a bedrock of betrayal and pain. For it was mere months ago that I uncovered the devastating truth. Brad, the man I loved with all my heart, had been unfaithful. And to add insult to injury, it was with Andrea, the very person I once called my closest friend. You might be wondering why I willingly subjected myself to the agony of witnessing their happiness unfold before my eyes. But amidst the pain and turmoil, I saw this day as an opportunity, a chance to finally confront them and lay bare the devastation their actions had wrought upon my life. While they fought tooth and nail to be together, hurling accusations of selfishness my way, I was grappling with a pain they could never comprehend. It was during those tumultuous days, as their affair continued to unravel the fabric of my world, that I discovered I was carrying a precious life within me, a daughter, a tiny beacon of hope amidst the chaos. But at 12 weeks, in the midst of the emotional maelstrom engulfing me, tragedy struck. I miscarried, robbed of the chance to hold my daughter in my arms, to whisper words of love into her ear. In the blink of an eye, every cherished dream and heartbeat vanished, leaving behind a gaping void that no amount of apologies could ever fill. The doctors attributed the loss to stress-induced complications, a cruel twist of fate orchestrated by the relentless agony inflicted upon me by their affair. My voice trembled with emotion as I pressed on, determined to make them understand the gravity of their actions. "This isn't merely about infidelity," I choked out, each word heavy with the weight of my grief. "It's about the precious life it cost us, the life of my daughter. While you two were busy weaving your tangled web of deceit, I was left to navigate a silent hell, mourning the loss of a child I never got the chance to hold." Pausing to collect myself, I locked eyes with the couple, my gaze unwavering. "I refuse to stand idly by and watch this day unfold under false pretenses," I declared, my words ringing out with a clarity born of pain. "How can I offer well wishes to a union built upon deception? How can I turn a blind eye to the fact that your happiness comes at the expense of my own?" My eyes welled up with tears as I concluded. "To Brad and Andrea," I whispered, my voice cracking with emotion, "know that today holds no joy for me. It serves as a stark reminder of the loss and agony I've endured at the hands of your betrayal. While you both forge ahead with your lives, I am left to bear the scars that may never fully heal. I cannot offer forgiveness for the devastation you've wrought, nor can I overlook the exorbitant cost of this wedding." Silence enveloped the space as I stood there, my gaze fixed on Brad, willing him to acknowledge the wreckage he'd left in his wake. He stood frozen at the altar, tears streaming down his face, but their presence brought me no solace. No amount of remorse could undo the irreparable damage inflicted upon me. With a heavy heart but newfound resolve, I turned and made my exit, leaving behind the weight of my pain and reclaiming a semblance of freedom. Things kinda stopped for a moment, but Brad pulled himself together, wiped away his tears, and went ahead with marrying Andrea. Honestly, I'm over whatever they're up to now because I already spilled my guts and spoke my mind. I'm all set to kick off a fresh chapter and ditch all this hurt. You know, it's wild how grief and pain can mess with someone. But after hearing my tale, do you reckon I was right to react the way I did? Or did I go too far?